All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Sports Hype. We're going to be talking about week 17 and 18 in the NFL, talking about the playoff and what we think is going to happen, especially with, these two. They had the crystal ball over here, so we're going to see what they think. We're going to be talking about how Pete Carroll, he resigned today from the Seahawks, how he's going to have, a limited role with the Seahawks. Then we're going to talk about how Mike Vrabel, he got fired. Arthur Smith got fired. A lot of coaches got fired in the NFL after the last week. Then finally, we're going to be talking about probably one of the most important things in sports news today, happening, pretty much right now. Nick Saban retired, right? One of the greatest coaches of all time, if not the greatest coach of all time in college football. And then we're going to talk about how the Knicks and Raptors trade, and then who won that trade.
Yes, sir. So we'll start with week 17. I know it was a rough week for the Dolphins fan over there. Rough past 2 weeks, but let's start with week 17. Your thoughts on that blowout of a game?
There's just nothing we can do to stop Lamar. You gotta hold Tyreek accountable as well. In that game, the offense was going with their offense at first. We Miami drives down the field, Tyreek drops a touchdown, which is like an easy catch for Tyreek Hill. Then we go up 10-7, and that was the beginning of the end because there's no real momentum after that.
Yeah, definitely a tough game. Every time I checked the score, it seemed like Lamar was throwing a touchdown. I was like, Dolphins defense could not contain the Ravens offense at all. And that's the main reason they lost, as well as the Ravens defense is playing lights out right now and shut down arguably the best offense in the NFL.
They should have sat Chubb too.
Yeah, no, yeah. The time that happened with the score, what it was, I don't believe he should have been in the game.
In hindsight, yeah, but like you know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, you're trying to make the most of what you got and trying to get some momentum going in the next week, but anything can happen, and unfortunately, something bad happened.
It's
But
set up week 18 too.
yeah, that's tough. Gio, what's your thoughts on this game?
So it was a really, I would say, chess-like game, right? Obviously, this is for the, I would say, for the division, right? Whoever
Well,
wins the
it
division.
was for the 1 seed. Whoever won was going to get the 1 seed.
You're talking about the Ravens?
Yeah, and I think that if the Dolphins won, they would have got the 1 seed too.
I mean, I fully believe that the Dolphins, since I'm saying we're talking about week 16, correct?
Week 17.
Week 17? All right,
Yeah,
my bad.
you're good.
So yeah, so I do believe Chubb should have been, benched, right? Obviously, at that point of the game. And then moving forward, right? I think when you look at how the Dolphins lost to the Ravens, that this was a very questionable game, right? Moving forward to week 18, seeing them lose to the Bills like that, I really think the the Dolphins are a real question mark in the AFC right now. We all expected them to be a great team, but when you look at the Dolphins right now, right? This is exactly what I thought was going to happen. It's unfortunate. I'm sorry, Nick, but when you have a quarterback like this and you have experienced teams like the Ravens going into the playoffs, right? And with a full, head of steam, I really think that these more experienced teams are going to go out and win in these types of games and matchups, and that's exactly what happened.
The Ravens has our number. There's nothing I can really talk about with the Ravens game. You feel me?
Yeah, that was a all-around domination by Baltimore. There's no other way to put it other than that. They came out determined to get the 1 seed, and they got the job done.
Oh, I
And
have one more thing to say though.
yeah,
Sorry. How does Jalen Waddle not play in that game?
What was it? What was it labeled as? The injury.
I don't know. But like, come on, bro. It's for the number one seed. You don't play that game.
it really doesn't matter at this point. We all saw what he did produce this season, so it's not like he would have been a game changer to where Miami would have even come close to winning this game, especially since it was 56-19.
Amen. Amen. When you have Jalen Waddle across Tyreek,
Yeah,
Tyreek
that
can get the attention, leaving
is
Jalen
better.
Waddle
Right. It's better,
any receiver to step up and help Tyreek out.
but when you have Jalen Waddle produce what he produced this year and this season on the field, it's not like this is going to help the team that much. Do you know what I'm saying?
If Raheem Mostert played too,
If Raheem Mostert, I would definitely agree with that. That 1-2 punch in the backfield is a must need for the Miami Dolphins to have success in this postseason. And if you don't
Yeah,
have that, then you guys are not winning a single game.
Achan's the best rookie player in the league right now.
I think that's honestly why Waddle and Mostert did sit out the past 2 weeks though to get ready for the playoffs.
For sure, right? But at the same time, you need to hit your stride. This is why it's so crucial for the Baltimore Ravens. I know we're not talking about really them at this point, but they've benched their guys for probably 3 weeks, right? Are they going to come out with a stride going against possibly who is it? I think it's either the Texans or it's Cleveland, right? In
No,
that matchup.
Cleveland and Texans play together.
It's the divisional, yeah, but for the divisional round, whoever comes out of that matchup for the
Yeah.
Texans and Cleveland play the
Hmm.
Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
really, the Baltimore Ravens have 3 weeks of rest when these guys are hitting their stride, the Texans or the Browns, right? And they're going to come out swinging, and the Ravens might come out, a little slow.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it happen with one seeds before, where especially I believe it happened with the Ravens before as well. Lamar came out sluggish, the Ravens came out sluggish, and they
Right.
lost.
But my point being, when you have Mostert and Waddle resting at this point of the season, you need them to hit their stride now, and you need them to play, and that's why I think it was be more beneficial if these two players played, especially since they're so crucial to their offense, right? And so them sitting out really hurts the Dolphins in the long run.
Yeah, I agree.
The Ravens, I'm hoping they are sluggish for when Miami shows up.
In what? In what world are they showing up?
Playoffs.
Okay, so when you have, well, we're going to be talking about this later, but let's finish off week 18.
Miami's still
Uh,
getting beat the Chiefs.
Week 17, my bad.
we'll touch on this a little bit. Say, keep your thoughts to yourself for now. But Gio, we can move on to the Steelers Seahawks game. Another big win for the Steelers. Let's touch on that for now.
For sure, right? We go ahead and get this W. Mason Rudolph had an amazing game, 18 for 24 once again, 274 yards. Najee Harris had 2 touchdowns, which was lovely to see with 122 yards, 27 carries. George Pickens had 131 yards. I think this offense is coming together really nicely at this point in time, and it's really helpful since we're going into the postseason now. It's unfortunate we didn't. I know we haven't talked about Week 18 yet, but it's unfortunate we didn't see the same exact offense in Week 18 as we did in Week 17 because I think this week when they played the Seahawks has been their best offensive game by far this season.
Oh, 100%. If they can play offense like that and their defense continues to get stops, they're going to be a sleeper team in the playoffs. But
For sure.
that will be easier said than done with the news of TJ Watt as
Right.
well.
Right.
But Saya,
It was a good game. I think this
I
was
mean, it
the
was a
beginning of the
good
end,
game.
okay? But we'll touch on that in a little bit. You got to shout out Mike Tomlin. Always finds a way to get
For
it
sure.
done. Should have started Money Mitch. I think him
No,
on offense
no.
with Najee playing the way he was, he would have had 500 yards. You feel me?
no. Mason Rudolph needs to continue to start moving forward until he has a stinker.
Money Mitch.
That's that's just the way it is because Money Mitch is worse than the two quarterbacks on the roster right now.
Wow. Wow.
So we're moving on now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Let's go to the Cowboys Lions game.
Yes, sir.
It I'm happy we got the win. It was a much needed win after two straight losses,
For sure.
but the team needs to play better than they did. The Lions could have easily won that game. So
I
offensively,
mean,
need to
is it a could have or is it a should have? won
Not
that
could
game.
have. That was the
I
that was the correct call.
I believe it was not because there's video evidence.
No, the O
Because
lineman himself, the O lineman himself came out and said when he went up to the ref, he wasn't reporting eligible.
do you have proof of this? Because I have proof of
Yes, I have
Dan
proof of it.
Campbell, the head
It was
coach,
on,
saying
bro.
everything,
There's
saying
a
that
report.
everything was cleared.
No, there's a report. The O line himself said that he did not report eligible.
I I haven't seen that clip. I haven't seen that at all. I've seen Dan Campbell put his case out there and then evidence supporting that case. But I have not seen that offensive lineman say that. If that is true, then I agree. But as of right now, to my knowledge, I think the Detroit Lions should have won that game if Dan Campbell is correct.
I don't believe he's correct, but either way, um, even if it wasn't called illegal touching, it would have been illegal formation either way because they couldn't have that formation out there. The refs went out after the game and said if it wasn't called illegal touching, it would have been illegal formation. So either way, the play would have been called back.
Okay,
But obviously, Cowboys need to be more efficient in the red zone.
for sure.
We had a lot of chances to score touchdowns and had to settle for field goals, which helped the Lions get back into the game and ultimately almost win the game. Luckily, the defense got a few major stops at the end, and we were able to come out with the win.
Yeah, regardless of the officiating, you still gotta get the 2 point to go in. You feel me? Especially when you get another shot at it. You gotta go deeper into your bag, find another play. You gotta get it done.
Yeah. Also, I mean, you could blame the officials, but you can also blame Dan Campbell for going for 2 point conversions 3 straight times after a false start, and then obviously offside. So he figured he could get it from the two. But after the false start, all me personally, I would have kicked the extra point and just went to OT.
Okay.
But this is a man that goes on in fourth down more often than not. I think I think this is the team that goes on fourth down the most out of any other team
Yeah, they
because
are.
he goes for the win. He goes for the jugular, right? He goes for the kill. And that's exactly what he does, and he's not shying down from that, and he's not going to change. He stands his ground and he does, exactly what he says he's going to do.
Yeah, that's fair. Hindsight's 50-50, but just glad the Cowboys got a much needed win.
If I was a Cowboys fan, I 100% agree because this gives you confidence saying, okay, we can beat a top team in the NFC.
Yep, exactly. But outside of the officiating, what's your thoughts on the game, Gio?
Thoughts on the game? I 100% agree. My focus on the top NFL teams is the red zone completions, and I harp on the Steelers, and Kenny Pickett on this a lot for not completing in the red zone. And you did this, I believe, last year when Cooper Rush was the quarterback. You guys
Yeah.
didn't complete that much in the red zone.
Mhm.
And when you're looking for a Super Bowl win, you need to complete in the red zone. And that's what you guys need to work on going forward into the playoffs, especially since Dak Prescott, you guys could have had a lot more, I feel like, points on the board right now. But I just got to say, Tony Pollard's got to be better. You know this too. I really believe that the running game has to be better, especially with the O line you guys have. CD Lamb's, arguably the best receiver in the game right now, so you can't question his, performances as of right now. I think a lot of the blame goes to Tony Pollard because if you can have that running game in the red zone, I think nothing can stop you guys.
Yeah, I agree. And we saw glimpses of that in week 18 against the Commanders as well.
Right.
But moving on to week 18, we'll start with the Steelers this time.
Yeah. So much needed win. Much needed win, especially since it's, playoff or go home.
Yeah, you needed the win to get in the playoffs.
I'm happy right now that Mike Tomlin has another over 500 winning season. Love seeing
Yes,
that. He's
sir.
never had a losing season before. So continue that streak. Love seeing that. And then Mason Rudolph, like I said, week 17 was probably their best offensive game of the season. He has to play better, even though he had the highest completion rate ever as a Pittsburgh quarterback, 18 for 20. Najee Harris had one TD. The only problem I have is we played against nobodies. No offense to Huntley, no offense to Edwards and Aguilar, right? We played against nobodies on the Baltimore Ravens, and it was a 17-10 game. This gives me a lot of questions going into the postseason and having not too much faith in the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Because if I'm gonna put money on it, right? Pittsburgh versus Buffalo. Buffalo's in their stride right now. They're getting their wins. They're getting tough wins as at that. And then the game being in Buffalo too, that doesn't even help us. So if we can get this win in the playoffs, I think we can go anywhere. We can go to the Super Bowl possibly, but we have to get this win first.
Yeah, I agree. I expected the Steelers to blow out the Ravens, given that they sat out their entire starting lineup pretty much on both sides
Yeah.
of the ball. Um, so definitely need some more from the offense, and the defense did their thing. They held them to 10 points.
Well, we also have to
So
touch on real quick. Sorry, that TJ has a grade 2 ACL sprain going to the
it's
playoffs, which he suffered in this game too. So
Yeah, so that's going to be very tough against Buffalo. But the defense did their thing, stopping the Ravens. So just need, like you said, need that week 17 type of offense if you guys want to compete with the Bills.
but it's going to be hard when you don't have the best player on both sides and TJ Watt, right?
Yeah. It's going to be very hard to get pressure on Josh Allen. And if you can't get pressure on Josh Allen, it's going to be hard to stop the Bills
Sure.
offense. But say,
But talking about the playoffs got me in like a different mindset. I'm about to go
you're,
off on that. You
you're,
feel me?
you're good.
I did watch this game. This game was hard to watch in a way, I'm gonna say. Um, the Steelers defense played well. When TJ went out, that's when the Ravens started getting momentum. Um, luckily, it wasn't the full Ravens team. Otherwise, Steelers would be kicking it at home. Um, you could just tell the difference between TJ Watt on that line and when he's not, because that defense looked like not horrible, but way worse with him out. That Highsmith kid, pretty
Yeah,
nice to get one.
I agree. I think Highsmith, Minka, they all had to step up in this playoff game. Hayward, especially being a defensive presence, it it is scary to see, like you said, Nick, that especially when we saw against Cleveland that last game when he went out with that concussion protocol, they scored I forget how many points, 30 straight points, something like that, right, to win the game when he went out in the first quarter. Then you go ahead into this game, and that's when the B team Ravens, right, started coming back. And so we really put a lot of pressure on our defense to carry us throughout the season, right? Especially since we can't put up points for our lives. But moving forward though, I hope that we can see that week 17 offense and relieve some of that pressure on our defense.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough to win without TJ Watt. If you do somehow pull out a win and he does come back either the next week or the conference championships, if you guys make it that far, that'll be a miracle in my opinion because he has that much of an impact on you guys.
I mean, honestly, at this point, can we just sign JJ? Like, we can sign JJ Watt
Hey,
and have
JJ came
him.
out. He came out and said, "How y'all think I'd look?" So, I mean, he's open
Just
to it.
we just need him for one game. Put in all the effort as he can, learn the playbook, go ahead and just win us one game. That's all he has to do. And he gets a
Yeah,
ring. And he gets a ring at the end of the day.
I mean, it would be dope to see, one Watt down, the other Watt comes in and saves the day.
It would be great to see because we also had the other brother too. I'm sorry, I forget his
Yeah, TJ Watt,
no TJ. There's TJ,
Derek,
JJ, and then the other one.
Derek.
Derek Watt. Yeah, we had Derek on the squad as well. So to have all three brothers as a Steeler, that would be amazing to see too,
Yeah, it would be very dope. I doubt it happens because he's enjoying retirement right now, but it would be very cool to see if he did pull a miracle like that.
for sure.
But Gio did have a crystal ball. He did predict that the Bills would hit their stride late and win the AFC East. And they did that week 18. I know Nick Say is over there very upset, having flashbacks. So let's hear his thoughts.
The defense played phenomenal. Like,
Well, I mean, you could argue that the special teams lost in the game with that punt return too.
yes, but the dude got injured and took out Alec Ingold as well, which is that entire lane that he
Yeah,
ran.
you guys have heck of injuries right now. It's not good.
The when we had like Van Ginkel went down,
Right.
one of our edge rushers and like outside linebackers,
Hmm.
he went down. The person that got hurt on the punt return was coming in to like fill in, playing the edge rusher position too.
Okay.
So he got hurt too. And that's when they get the punt return for a touchdown. The next drive, Josh Allen drives down the field and scores. The injuries killed us in that game.
Yeah, I honestly saw how important Jalen Waddle and especially Raheem Mostert is to that offense because Tua had absolutely no one to throw the ball to.
And Tyreek Hill was dropping easy catches. There was a lot of deep
Yeah.
balls too that he
Yeah.
normally brings down, but he was just not it.
No, he didn't play great. It was just if the offense played better, they easily win this game. But this is the type of game that they can expect in Kansas City, I feel like, because that Kansas City defense has been playing very well. So the offense is going to have to make a lot of adjustments going into that game.
I'm hoping Raheem comes in. Achan keeps playing the way he's playing. He was probably the best part of our team on that. Like,
Oh, 100%. I think he had like one touchdown.
he played really well.
I will.
I
Oh, go ahead.
not gonna.
I was gonna say I will say I don't know what Tua saw on that last pick
I don't know either. I
because
don't.
like yeah, there was a little window, but it was way too tight to get that ball in there.
It was the angriest I've ever been when he
I
threw it.
bet. I bet because you already hate the Bills and then they took your crown.
Buffalo did not win that game by any means. By any means.
I mean, yeah, Tua can't play that bad in a playoff game and expect to win. He needs to bounce back.
I need I need him to look at other ways too, not just Tyreek.
Yeah, he tried to force it to Tyreek a lot.
There was like one play I remember. It was like 3rd and 2 or something. He had the check down wide open on his right side,
Mhm.
but instead he tried to force feed the ball to Tyreek Hill, and it was incomplete, and we punted the ball, and then Buffalo got the punt return.
Yeah, I think it was a crazy stat. Like Miami punted it 5 straight times, and that was like the first time that happened all season. So you can expect to go into Kansas City, Mahomes' house, punt it 5 times, and not expect him to score at least once to win the game.
But when you talk about playoff predictions, y'all might think I'm crazy.
All right. Gio, what's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, pretty crazy. That tip touchdown, you kind of knew. It's just like a shooter, right? If they're making crazy shots, there's nothing you can do about it. When they got that crazy touchdown, you knew um the fate was on Buffalo's hands, right? Buffalo was going to win that game no matter what, especially because of that touchdown alone. When you look at the quarterback though, Tua Tagovailoa had a QBR of 73.3 while Josh Allen had a QBR of 72.1. Just showing you that I do believe, although you guys are ripping, Tua and saying how bad of a game he played, I really think it was in the hands, like you said, Nick, the drop passes by Tyreek Hill, right? Not having Raheem Mostert, right? So all these key components that gives you guys that ultimate offense didn't play, right? So you really can't put on Tua that much. You really just got to put it on the guys that didn't play, and you also got to put it on the guys that played for the Bills, right? You had Josh Allen, who was comfortable, although he had 2 interceptions and he had a worse QBR. He was comfortable in that game. I feel like for the most part, 15 carries, 67 yards. When Josh Allen is running that ball like he did, right? There's really like he's comfortable in that game. And then you got Shakir who had 6 receptions on 105 yards. I really think honestly the Bills skilled players played better than the Dolphins, but the QB of the opposing teams really like Tua Tagovailoa had a better game. Although he did have less yards and a worse completion rating, I do think since his QBR was higher, I really think that Tua Tagovailoa did what he could.
Who played better than Josh Allen? That's just a fact. Josh Allen didn't play good at all, like at all,
No, let's be
at all.
honest. His defense won him that game.
It's when the injuries happened where we lost both Van Ginkel and then number 53. That's when Josh Allen started dialing us up on that one drive to score a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, if the Dolphins offense got going a little bit in the second half, it would have been a much different result, but unfortunately couldn't get going and they got a lot of adjustments moving forward.
Yeah, but when you look at it, right, he gets you get a special teams punt return for Buffalo.
Correct.
Okay. Just showing you that it was the skilled players on Buffalo who played harder, in my opinion.
I think health won them that game, but they won that game. It is what it is.
How do you allow a 96-yard punt return?
To be
You
honest, that was probably the worst cover of a punt return I've ever seen.
That's what I'm saying is like how as one of the top teams having Mike McDaniels as your head coach, a great head coach, you would expect your special teams to play better.
I mean, yeah, but he's not the special teams coach though.
real quick. If y'all run back, if y'all watch the replay of that punt return,
Yep.
Yeah.
if you watch exactly where he ran through our coverage on the punt,
Hmm.
right before he makes a break through that gap,
Right.
you can see one of our players fall, grab his knee, take out another one of our players from the
Yes,
game.
I saw. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
opened that entire gap and he was gone.
Correct, but you would expect to have some type of insurance in the back when he
Right.
breaks
That
the hole though.
that's my whole point.
Okay.
I mean, it just wasn't Dolphins football. Let's just put it that way.
I like I said, it was a fluky game. When you saw they got that touchdown, that tip pass touchdown, and you get that what's it called? Punt TD, right? The Bills had to win that game, no matter how great Tua played. If you get those two touchdowns like that for Buffalo, they're gonna win that game.
Mr. Toe Tap was a former Dolphin too. Trent Sherfield. Awful.
Yeah. Um, I will say before we move on though, football is never serious enough to kill somebody, and it was announced that a Miami Dolphin fan did murder a Buffalo Bills fan over an altercation. So rest in peace to that fan and prayers up to his family. But football is never that serious.
Facts.
Crazy. They might have jumped the Cowboys fans for that one. Dolphins fans might have jumped the Cowboys fans for the craziest fans in football because of that. It might go Dolphins, Cowboys, Bills.
Dolphins, Cowboys, Eagles.
That's a bet. Yeah, but when you have the Bills and you're in that atmosphere in Buffalo,
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
insane.
That's true. But we'll move on to the Dallas Cowboys Commanders game. Very, very big win for the Dallas Cowboys, and the Eagles continued to slide, giving the Cowboys a one more win than the Eagles. I believe the Eagles were 11-1, and they lost five straight, giving basically let's say they basically handed the Cowboys the division. It was looking like
Yep.
the Cowboys were going to be the fifth seed, playing the Bucks like the Eagles are, but the Eagles, I don't know what's going on over there, but they are not playing Eagle football. And it couldn't be happening at a worse time because they lost a two seed very big win because the Cowboys now got 2 seed and home field advantage, which we have touched on how important that is, especially for this team who
Right,
plays so much better at home. So
right.
very happy that we got home field advantage starting Sunday against the Packers. So overall, this game at first we came out sluggish. We took the opponent for granted, got down 10-7, and then we locked in, didn't let them score again, and we rolled to the finish line. Final score was 38-10. Dak Prescott played absolutely fantastic. If this is the Dak Prescott we get in the playoffs, it's going to be very hard to beat us, especially if the defense plays as well as they did. Um, Tony Pollard probably had his best game of the season, in my opinion. If Pollard runs as hard as he did against the Commanders, it's going to open up the passing offense even more, which will be huge. And then CD Lamb did CD things. He's been absolutely fantastic. As Gio said, he's arguably the best receiver in the game right now. 13 receptions, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns, broke Michael Irvin's records for receptions and touchdowns in one season this year. And if Dak and CD keep this chemistry up, it's going to be very hard to stop them.
So Trey Lance comes in.
Yeah, okay.
But being honest here, you're playing the Washington, you know, football team, Commanders.
Correct. Commanders, yeah.
So when you're playing them, yes, I think even a solid team can look exactly like they did here. Even though I do think you guys have an elite offense, don't get me wrong, when they're playing well, when Dak Prescott's playing well, they're an elite offense. But Tony Pollard should have those numbers. CD Lamb should be doing what he did. 2 touchdowns, 98 yards, 13 receptions. I mean, any elite receiver can annihilate this Washington defense. So yes, it was a great win. You guys did get a necessary win to get that home field advantage and win the division. First time since when? 2016?
I believe it's been Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles, Cowboys. So it's been like 2 years probably.
Okay, 2 years. Yeah, yeah, I thought it was like a 2 year jump. All right. But then when you look at the other side of it, when you look at the Eagles, I can tell you exactly why they're not winning games. And it's because of the defense. So when they're sliding like this and you guys have these necessary wins, the Cowboys deserve the division, right? Because of that. And going forward, like you said, home field advantage is huge for them because they obviously need it because they can't really play that well on the road as well as they do at home.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I did expect it to be a blowout. All right. As I was saying before our little intermission, I was very happy that it was a blowout. I expected it to be a blowout, but I'm just more happy that the Cowboys offense finally found their stride again after a rough 3 weeks, 3 week stretch where they weren't able to score at a high rate. And they were able to do that, obviously, against the bottom tier defense. But either way, great win for confidence reasons going into the playoffs. And that's why I'm the most happy about because they can finally have some good stride and momentum moving into the playoffs.
So, nice. It was the Commander, but the dub is a dub. Lock two. Must be nice.
Yeah, I think since we're the 2 seed, I'm confident we can win at least 2 games. If we were a 5 seed, I probably would have capped that at 1 game.
Right, right.
Really?
Yeah, because of having to play on the road.
Uh, so you would say, right, that where is this? Cowboys. Where? Hold on. Who would you guys play in this divisional round? You guys
As a
are five?
5 seed,
Yeah.
we play the Bucks like the Eagles are.
Oh, here we go. Sorry, I just need the picture. Yeah, so you guys would be playing. You guys play Green Bay.
Correct, we do.
If you guys, so you want to talk playoff bracket now?
Sure, that works.
Is that cool with you, sir?
Right.
All right. So Dallas plays Green Bay. If you guys don't Dallas this up, Cowboys this up, they should be a win.
100%. But I think it's going to be closer than people think because the
Yeah.
Packers are finding their stride. Jordan Love is playing probably the best ball of his career. And yeah,
Well,
they're
yeah.
a young team, but they're a very well coached team too.
And his numbers are close to Dak Prescott. So let's be honest, he should be MVP right now. So
I don't know about that one, but moving on.
now we all know it's Lamar right now.
I think it's Dak, but
But when you have Lamar do what he just did to
yeah, but
like
Dak has better stats. He has the best stats in the league, quarterback wise. If it's a statistical award, it will go to Dak.
but it's not, and it's also gameplay because you look at the losses he's had.
Yeah, that's why I believe it will go to Lamar because of how poor Dak played against the Bills specifically.
The Bills, and then you look at the Cardinals, and then you like, there were a couple of games where you're like, wow, is this Dak Prescott? But
Yeah,
yeah, you guys should win that game, right? Nick, you would agree. Dallas should beat Green Bay.
That should be Green Bay, correct?
Okay, cool. Then then you got the Detroit Lions and Rams, which is supposed to be an amazing playoff game, great matchup. You got Matthew Stafford going back to
returning.
Detroit
Yes, sir.
for sure, especially when there's a Dak or not Dak, when there's a Stafford jersey ban in Detroit. You
Oh, is
can't
there actually?
you cannot wear a Matthew Stafford jersey going into the stadium.
Oh, so Rams fans can't wear Stafford jerseys?
I don't believe so. I think it's all Matthew Stafford stuff. You cannot wear in Detroit.
Wow, that's crazy.
So to me, that is insane. So that's going to be a great matchup. I Who do you guys have for this matchup? Because I think this is probably one of the toughest matchups in the playoffs right now.
I agree. It is very tough. The way the Lions have been playing right now, I'm going to lean towards the Rams.
I was also going to pick the Rams.
I would have to agree with that. I mean, Dan Campbell, I would say is a better coach.
Correct. But I mean, they also aren't experienced. Stafford is.
They're inexperienced, but you have Jared Goff at the helm, who went to a Super Bowl. Although the Rams won a Super Bowl with Stafford, Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl. I really think that it comes down to the quarterback and the experience in the playoffs, where Jared Goff understands the, clock management going into the playoff, how to play it safely. I really think Detroit has a chance to win this game because of Campbell and because of Jared Goff. I want the Rams to win just because of the Matthew Stafford ban and Matthew Stafford going back to Detroit, especially since they traded him for Goff just to show them he's better. I want the Rams to win, but I ultimately have the Detroit Lions winning this game because of the reasons I just mentioned.
That's fair. I mean, it's a coin toss. It could go
It
either
really
way.
is, really. Either one I'm happy with, honestly. I love Stafford and I love Dan Campbell and Jared Goff, so
Like Gio said, I think it would come down to QB play. And I think one quarterback is barely a starter. And I think the other quarterback is a veteran starter.
no, no.
I
They're both
do
great quarterbacks.
I do agree though. Matthew Stafford is the better quarterback, and that is the reason the Rams will win.
Okay, I don't disagree on that, right? I do believe that he was undervalued in Detroit 100%. And his first year out of Detroit, he wins the Super Bowl. There's no coincidence there, right? But when you look at what Jared Goff has done in Detroit, turned that franchise around with Dan Campbell, it's it's fascinating to see because you can still see that Jared Goff where he went to the playoffs and went to the Super Bowl, right? Although everyone's saying it was their defense that carried them. But you look at what he's doing with Amar St. Brown, and it's phenomenal. And I think they do have a chance to win this game.
Well, they 100% have a chance. As I said, it's a coin toss, but like you said, it's going to come down to the quarterbacks. And me personally, I trust a veteran like Matthew Stafford over
Right.
someone like Jared Goff personally.
But either way, do you have? Oh, go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
No, you go, bro. I was just gonna say the same thing.
Oh, cool. Yeah, hate on, Jared Goff even more. Just keep piling it on. So either way, Dallas should win that matchup, whoever comes out of that Detroit and Rams play or game, right?
I Detroit would be tough. I'm going to put it that way because they almost beat us and they believe they should have beat us. I think they'd come out with a fire. The Rams would also be tough, but yes, I believe we're the better team than both of those teams.
I agree. I would have to have you guys win those games.
And
That
that's why I think home field advantage was so important because I'm confident we can at least make the NFC Championship given that we have two games at home.
right, yeah. And that's anything less than that, I think would be
A
uh,
disappointment.
just exactly 100% a disappointment of the season.
I mean, if you look at it on paper, we do have a team for a Super Bowl, but given our, previous history in the playoffs, I'm not going to go that far yet.
Right, but when you look at Green Bay, then Detroit or the Rams, I mean, you guys should easily win those games
Yeah, we should.
at home.
But the thing is, if we do get past those two teams, you know who we're most likely going to have to face.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay. I don't know what other team you were thinking about.
It's going to be San Fran.
Yeah,
If it's
yeah,
Philly, if it's
100%.
Philly, if it's somehow Philly, then I'm confident we'll beat them. But
You're right. Right.
If it's San Fran, I feel like they're just gonna be in the back of our heads, those lo past two losses, and we're gonna find a way to lose again.
Yeah, I think San Fran. I don't want to get that far yet, but the Cowboys have a chance to win at least. I know they will win the first round.
Correct.
Yeah, they have a likelihood of winning the second round, right?
It depends.
So why does it depend for you?
Did they change? Isn't the playoffs like the second round, the lowest advancing team goes against the one seed, second lowest?
So you would have Tampa Bay or Philly playing San Fran. You have Detroit or the Rams playing Dallas.
It's just like a fixed bracket now.
It's
It's
a
not like
fixed
a
bracket.
team.
Yeah, fixed bracket.
Wait, since when?
Since now, I have it up.
It's been like this, Saya.
Yeah,
I thought it was like a whole reseeding thing now.
I did too until I found this out. So you're not the only one.
If they do play those two teams, if the Rams advance, I think there's a like very good chance that the Rams beat Cowboys.
Okay.
I
Wow,
think
that's crazy.
I think personally we have a better chance against the Rams than we do Detroit.
I don't know, bro. The Stafford Cup, you got you got Puka.
Yeah, but if you look at it, we're built for getting pressure, and the Rams O line is worse than the Detroit's O line.
Yeah, I was about to.
If you get pressure on Matthew Stafford, he's not going to have time to look down the field.
Yeah, I was about to say Micah is looking forward to whatever matchup he's going to get because he's in the playoffs now. He's ready to kill once again, especially since the defeat last year. He's hungry, and I know Dak's hungry. He's probably the hungriest person on the team. He didn't even put a hat on it. NFC
No,
champ.
Dak not
Yeah.
putting a hat on was probably the best thing I saw all weekend because it showed me that he is not satisfied, not even
He's
close.
not satisfied until he wins that Super Bowl, right? So it just shows me that offense is locked in. That defense with Micah is locked in. They have a chance, like you said, Jake, in the NFC Championship game to go against San Francisco. And even though they're the away team, I have them beating them only because they're going to have so much drama about how Kittle showed that shirt. They're going to be locked in just to prove a point that they are better than Kittle. They're going to be better than Debo. CMC is going to do his thing. I don't think anyone can stop him. And they're going to beat Brock Purdy. That's 100% going to happen.
I'm not trying to get that far, I'm trying to take it one game at a time because that's what the playoffs are about.
It is.
But if we do get there and that happens, I'm confident not only will we make the Super Bowl, but if we blow out the 49ers, we will win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and like I said, and like you said, we have the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl because of that reason, because you guys are so locked in.
Yeah, I mean, the potential is through the roof. This is
Right,
Dak's best roster in his 8-year career. If he doesn't get it done with this team, then when will you ever get it done? That's the big question.
right.
So he knows that. And I think he also knows is he could, if he does get us a Super Bowl and potentially win, even if he just gets us and we still lose, that contract extension is going to be even higher.
Right.
So he's going to come to play. I do believe though that second round game, I think the first round matchup is going to be close, but I think we win by at least 2 touchdowns, if not more, just because I think we're going to get pressure on Jordan Love and fluster him, and he's not good when that happens, as we've seen majority of the season. Um, but that second round matchup, I think we'll win between 3 to 7 points. It's going to be a very close game and a very stressful game for me to watch if we get past the Packers.
But
But let's go move on to those two AFC teams. It's not looking great for the Miami Dolphins given the way they've finished their season the past 2 weeks. Going into Arrowhead is not easy, especially since it's going to be, I believe, 10 degrees or something like that.
It's going to be negative
And,
five.
and yeah, exactly.
With
And
wind chill, it's negative five. Yeah.
Miami's not used to playing in the cold. We saw that in
Obviously.
Buffalo early this year. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough game. Tyreek returning to Arrowhead, though, I do expect a big game from Tyreek, especially if those fans boo him for leaving. It's going to just fuel a fire. I expect a big game from him. If the offense plays as poorly as they did in Germany, the Chiefs will win. But if the offense plays as they are capable, the Dolphins will win.
Gio, what are your thoughts on that?
So I know you're going to be disappointed in my answer, but with the reasoning you gave me for why they lost in week 18 is going to be the same reasoning why they're going to lose in this first round matchup. Because of injury, I think because Mostert and Waddle haven't played, they're not going to be coming out punching with stride. Who knows? Maybe that 1-2 punch will start, clicking once again. And if that happens, I give you guys the best chance of winning. But Kansas City, they're home in Arrowhead, one of the probably most thunderous, arenas in football. And then you also look at the fact that Travis Kelce didn't reach 1,000-yard receptions. He's hungry in the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs is a different animal, right? I think this defense, like Jake said, I believe they're playing great right now. So Kansas City right now is hitting their stride, and Travis is hungry. Patrick's hungry. You guys are hurt. It's a disaster waiting to happen, and I think Kansas City wins by possibly a touchdown, if not more.
I mean, it's a coin toss for me because the Chiefs have no weapons outside of Travis Kelce. If you take Travis Kelce out of the game, you're you up your percentage by a large margin.
You do, but when you look at the efficiency of Pacheco last year in the playoffs, who had an amazing playoff run, right? And then
Yeah,
who
this game, it's such a tough game to pick.
it is a tough game. But when you look at the injuries on the defensive side for the Dolphins,
That's
that
true.
helps a lot. Especially Chubb, that helps a lot with
That's true, but
for Kansas City.
I feel like Jalen Ramsey, as he did in Germany, will shut down Travis Kelce again. And I don't know if the Chiefs will be
But
able to overcome
how
that because they haven't been able to majority of the season.
how do you I think Travis will play hungrier, right? Especially since he didn't get his 1,000 reception season. This breaks his what was it? I think seventh consecutive years running where he got 1,000 yards, and he
Yeah.
did,
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be it's gonna be a defensive game, in my opinion. Because of the weather, they're gonna run the ball majority of the time more than throw. And the Dolphins run game is better than the Chiefs run game, which might give them the edge, but to me, it comes down to what Tua shows up because we know Patrick Mahomes is gonna show up in the playoffs. If Tua doesn't show up, then the Chiefs are gonna win.
Right. And you still look at Pacheco, who's having a great season, where his last game he had 130 yards, right? Averaged 7.2 rushing yards. He didn't get any touchdowns, which he has got previously in this season, multiple touchdowns per game. And then you also have, I think, Travis Kelce, obviously. I would say Rashee Rice is, I would say, one guy I would look at just because I think he could be a sleeper on that Kansas City offense. Justin Watson, right? Some of these guys are coming out of their shell later in the season, and it's going to be scary, especially with injury riddled, Miami Dolphins defense.
Yeah, I mean, if the Dolphins were at home, I'd be more confident in them because
Yeah,
they play better at home. But
right.
since they're on the road at Arrowhead, as you said, a very tough environment to play at, it's going to be tough.
Personally, I think Miami wins this game by
Yeah,
10 points.
you have to pick them. Yeah.
By how many points?
10 points.
7? Okay.
No, he said 10, right? 10? Yeah, 10.
10? All right.
Yeah, that's reasonable. That can
That is
happen.
reasonable. Yeah, that's reasonable.
Personally, I think Miami's defense played and showed enough for me against the Bills, has a better offense, in my opinion.
Yeah, they obviously have a better offense.
They're more threatening offensively.
You're
The
right.
Bills?
The Bill better than the Chiefs.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Miami held their offense to 14 points the entire game.
right.
Although we got injuries, we signed more players to help fill in those spots.
Yeah, but they're not the guys. They're not, your starters.
Yeah, but they still got their secondary intact, and that's the key thing to me.
Yeah, I think Howard and Ramsey, great, right?
Davian might not play.
See, now that's another downfall for you guys.
Jerome Baker he got reported out for this playoff game, so we won't have our linebacker,
Yeah.
but that's fine.
It's going to be very
It's
tough
just
to
like
win.
last.
It's going to be very tough to win with all these injuries. But
Yeah, it's
if
just
the
like
Dolphins if the Dolphins do get it done moving forward, that'll be a big confidence boost for them.
It
I'd
was,
bench Tua.
huh?
I'd have Mike White start
You're crazy for that.
and see what we can do with our second team, just because we're pretty much playing with our second team anyways.
Listen. Hopefully, Javon Holland plays. Fine with him. Then you got Sean Elliott in that secondary at the other safety, or Brandon Jones filling in. I'm good with all three of my safeties. I'm cool. Jalen Ramsey, the best corner in the league by far. Good with him. Then you got Kader Kohu, the best nickel linebacker, like slot corner in the entire league. Cool with him. Eli Apple's gonna be a problem. On that other
Yeah.
corner, Xavier doesn't play.
Hmm.
At the linebacker position, you still got Duke Riley. You still got David Long. So they're gonna be clamping up on Travis Kelce. Or you throw Jalen Ramsey or Kader Kohu on Kelce, clamps. You still got Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer on the interior D line. So Pacheco is gonna have to try to go outside the numbers.
So I hear what you're saying. Let's play a hypothetical with the crystal ball. What time is it? 11:06.
11:06.
Thank you. Eastern time, January 10th. Travis Kelce, what if he has 100 yard reception game, 2 touchdowns? Do you guys win or lose that game
When?
with Travis getting 2 touchdowns?
Yep.
We don't know anybody else's numbers.
Yep.
With
Yep.
Travis getting two touchdowns, we still think you win.
Huh?
I find
Uh,
that very interesting.
Yeah, I
The
don't
only thing that
think.
happens is if he's getting force fed the ball because Mahomes and his wide receivers are doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, but do you trust the Miami offense to do something based off these past 2 weeks? Because personally, I don't.
I trust Devon Achane.
But
Yeah,
when
but as I said, that interior D line of the Chiefs is one of the best in the league right now.
yeah, and when you just saw Chris Jones get that sack to get his what was it, $1.3 million bonus,
Yeah,
he, he's he's gonna do the exact same thing to you guys.
Let them rush in. We watched Miami's run game against Buffalo, who was very aggressive towards us.
Yeah. What happened?
McDaniel put phenomenal game plan in
Okay.
to where HM was getting his spots. He was running all over them.
I
He
mean,
didn't get a
it's gonna
touchdown.
for me, it's gonna come
Did he
down to
get
the
one touchdown?
offenses.
Huh?
Did he
He
get
got
one
one.
touchdown?
He got
Yeah.
one.
Okay. And if Travis gets two, that still puts him down.
Then
To
you got
me,
Reed in two. You got
Reed.
Jalen Waddle getting one. Ramsey with the pick six.
I
All right,
don't know about though. I
this
don't
is
know
going.
about all that. To me, it's gonna come down to the offenses. Whatever offense plays better is gonna win the game. And
Right.
for me personally, I have more trust in Mahomes than I do Tua. So I'm gonna lean towards the Chiefs way.
Well,
I agree. So we have possibly the Chiefs in
oh,
that matchup. Going to Buffalo, Pittsburgh. I think it's an easy say. We're gonna pick Buffalo
Yeah, I mean, given the state of the Steelers defense
and the
without
offense.
TJ Watt as well as the
Right.
offense, yes. If somehow that week 17 offense shows up as we stated, then it will be a closer game than expected.
But
But if the week 18 offense shows up, I believe that the Bills will blow the Steelers out because the Steelers are going to struggle to get pressure on Josh Allen. Allen's going
Mhm.
to have all day to tear them apart, and we've seen that secondary get shredded a majority of games this season.
Yeah.
And if they give Josh Allen time, that's exactly what's going to happen.
And we've seen even with TJ, Josh Allen gets to his spots. He's able to run on us. It it should be a close game if our offense can show up. But even then, even with TJ on the field, I would have Buffalo winning, especially since they're home.
Yeah. I mean, they play 10 times better at home. It's crazy.
It's
I have the 40,
unfortunate way to end this Pittsburgh Steelers
14
season.
Steelers.
Love it.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you never know. Upsets
Yeah.
can happen.
Buffalo plays to the level of their competition.
That is
I think
true.
we're trash.
No, no, I'm saying they almost lost to the Chargers, man.
Right, right. And they did
So
lose. Hey, they did lose to New England, same as us.
So exactly, they say that is right. There is a
Yeah,
chance for the Steelers.
for
It's going
sure.
to be a matter of what Mason Rudolph shows up.
And what Josh Allen shows up. If we see the Josh
Correct.
Allen from week one or week whatever from the New England
Yeah,
game or any other game they lost, Pittsburgh has a chance.
for sure. Go
So
ahead, Saya.
I also believe the Steelers have a better defense, even with TJ being hurt.
Okay.
And Miami held them to 14 points. That's why I'm giving the edge to the Steelers.
wow, so you have Steelers beating Buffalo.
Yep.
I appreciate that. But realistically, I got Buffalo. And then if we
Yeah,
have a Kansas City Buffalo rematch, if that happens, Sarah, we'll just say if, right? If that happens, who's winning that matchup?
Kansas City,
Kansas City, I agree.
but Miami.
I
If
think I think
whoever wins
Buffalo.
that game, oh, you think Buffalo?
I think they beat Kansas City this year just because of the offensive firepower discrepancy.
Yeah. See, I have whoever wins the Kansas City Miami game going to the conference championship.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, you can never count out Mahomes in the playoffs, but I just feel like eventually the lack of offense for the Chiefs is going to catch up to them.
Okay, that can happen, but you thought about that last year as well.
True, but they didn't have this bad of an offense though.
I think it was pretty bad. And people were also saying how bad the defense was, and look how great their defense is now. I'm really have belief in their defense, which I didn't have last year. Right? We had to earn that belief, and now I have that belief. And I think the Kansas City defense is gonna overpower Buffalo's offense, which Nick loves to hear because he hates that offense. And we're gonna have a Kansas City, and whoever comes out of that Cleveland Houston game, who do you think is gonna win?
That's a tough one too. That's a coin toss for me because Flacco and the Browns are playing lights out right now.
Yeah,
And CJ Stroud is, I mean, he's a great first year quarterback, but he's inexperienced. So
yeah.
I'm probably gonna have to give the edge to Cleveland because of just the
Why?
experience Joe Flacco has.
You got to give to Flacco.
I'll go the Texans. I just think they're better. Honestly, I think that their offense is better. Their defense not better, but I think their
Now
offense.
Cleveland's defense is top five.
Yeah, don't forget they have Miles Garrett on that team.
So I don't believe the Texans are going to score more than 14 points.
Imagine if Nick Chubb was still playing.
If Tank Dell was still playing, I'd consider the Texans, but no Tank is very tough.
Yeah.
Nico,
Yeah, but Nico's going to be guarded by arguably one of the best corners in the league.
think so.
Yes. So I gotta go with Cleveland
I got Cleveland too. Joe Flacco, Amari Cooper, and Joku, right? Great squad right there.
for sure.
I'm going with the young legs, getting it done somehow, some way.
And then against Baltimore, who do you have?
Um, I'm gonna go Baltimore
Really?
over Cleveland. Yeah, because I just feel like
Do tell.
Baltimore's in the same situation as the Cowboys. If Lamar doesn't get it done right now with this team, with how well they've been playing, with how well their defense has been playing, he'll never get it done. And I think
Right.
Lamar knows that, and he's going to come out, play with a fire, and at least get them to the AFC Championship.
So, oh, go ahead and go ahead. Get your thought out.
I just think the Ravens are too good
Right.
defensively and offensively for either of those two teams. So I think it's even if he does come out sluggish, I think it'll still be enough to get past both of them.
I mean, they'll have a easier path if it's the Texans. The Browns will put up more of a fight.
I agree with that.
I have Cleveland winning this game. I have Joe Flacco playing better than Lamar Jackson, the MVP of this season. Against the most improved player this season, Joe Flacco is going to win this. Miles Garrett has a better defense, in my opinion. Although the Ravens have arguably the best defense in the league, I think Miles Garrett and that squad around him, they can go ahead and beat that Baltimore offense. How are you stopping Amari Cooper? I mean, he's arguably the best receiver on the field when healthy.
I don't believe Amari did anything in the two games these teams played this season.
Yeah, but I do believe later in the season, right? Amari has skyrocketed.
He
And
has, but I I just have to trust the Ravens defense with how well they've been playing.
I trust Joe Flacco a little bit more than I do with, Lamar Jackson just because, we haven't seen Lamar. He's the new Tony Romo, let's be honest. He's a great regular season quarterback, but he hasn't done anything in the playoffs. What has he won? Two playoff games in his 6-year career right now?
Yeah, it hasn't the track record's not there.
Yeah. But anyways, going into that AFC Championship game, who do you guys have and who do you guys have go to the Super Bowl?
So
The Miami Dolphins coming out of the AFC.
Wow. That is not shocking.
Listen, we're gonna upset Kansas City.
Yep.
It's gonna give a new confidence to Tua. He's gonna be like, "Yeah, I do this for real." We gonna run it back with Buffalo. We're gonna be more healthy by the time we get there. We're gonna have the same type of game, but this time there's not gonna be no toe taps, no punt returns, not the same amount of injuries. We gonna whoop them. Then we moving on. to play the Rams. And like you said, Lamar's a regular season quarterback. Miami gonna come in there. They gonna
I
whoop.
mean, if
They gonna handle
if
the Ravens.
Lamar played for the Rams, I mean, they could go to the Super Bowl. Let's be
The
honest
Ravens.
with you.
When we run up on the Ravens in Baltimore,
Yeah.
they gonna be tired. They gonna be like, damn, we just took 3 weeks off.
Are they gonna be
Get
tired?
ready for another full game, a high intensity game against this Dolphins team. We gonna run through them, win by 4, and then we go into the bowl.
Okay. And then
I'm gonna,
NFC, do you have a team?
I do.
Okay.
You feel me?
Who
There's
is it?
really only one team, 2 teams potentially. I think in the NFC Championship game, you got Brock Purdy, the MVP of this league, if not Tua Tagovailoa.
none of
Going,
your boys are winning. I hate to break it to you. None of those two are winning, but keep going.
both of them should be above Dak. Come on now.
No, absolutely not, but keep going.
You got Brock Purdy sitting there waiting. He's not gonna play the Cowboys. It'll be the Rams who make it all the way to lose to Brock Purdy to go meet Miami in the Super Bowl.
So you got 2 6 in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
All right, that's fair. I'm gonna take a
Wait,
different
no,
route.
no, I
Huh?
got to get the Niners. My bad.
Oh, okay, okay. Niners, they're the yeah, one v six.
That's
All right.
fine. Okay.
I'm gonna assume that you give the edge to Miami in the Super Bowl.
Watch him say no. He's gonna say yes.
He has to say yes.
It'll come down to health,
Okay, that's fair.
but I honestly think Miami's a better team.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
That's fair. Um, I think this is Lamar's year. I think he's going to make the Super Bowl personally. I think he'll play Buffalo in the AFC Championship, and that's when Josh Allen's run will end, and Lamar will beat him to make the Super Bowl in the AFC. NFC, as I said, it's going to be San Fran versus Dallas. I really do want to say Dallas will beat San Fran, but until I see it with my own eyes, I can't say that. So I'm gonna say it's going to be Ravens 49ers. And I think it's going to be a great Super Bowl, but I'm going to give the edge to the 49ers just because I feel like that defense will shut down Lamar's offense.
Reverse 2013.
Yeah, facts. Exactly. I mean, it would be a great story if the Ravens won, given that Michigan won, both Harbaugh brothers winning a championship in the same year. But I just don't see Lamar winning a Super Bowl yet.
Not yet. Big GF.
Yeah, this is a hard Super Bowl to pick.
It is very hard.
Um, a lot of questions out there. San Fran, yeah, that's an easy pick for the NFC, right? But then you have Detroit and you have Dallas, in my opinion, who could be the dark horses of the NFC, where you got Dallas, who should go ahead and play San Fran in the NFC Championship, and then I
Correct.
think they can beat them, especially with the whole drama behind Kittle. So Dallas should win. I got Dallas in the Super Bowl. It's unfortunate, but it happens. And then and then in the AFC, that I got 3 teams possibly. Baltimore is a great team, right? I don't think they're gonna win. I would hope Cleveland goes ahead. Joe Flacco, one last ride, goes into the Super Bowl and wins it. Then there's Kansas City and Miami, and you got those 2 teams. I got to give it out to the guy that I can trust in the playoffs, and that's Patrick Mahomes.
We're talking about
Bro, I haven't seen, I don't know, I can't
I
trust
don't
Tua
think we
yet.
have we haven't seen Tua Tagovailoa in the playoffs. So until I see him,
Yeah.
trust him. But right now,
Uh,
I have whoever wins that matchup, Kansas City or Miami, going to the Super Bowl. Realistically, Kansas
who's
City,
win?
for me, is going to win that. So it's Kansas City and it's going to be Dallas.
Who's winning?
I do believe, like picked in the preseason, I got Kansas City going back to back.
That's fair. I mean, after what I've went through, I'll take going to Super Bowl. Yeah, it will sting. It will sting harder losing a Super Bowl, but
Hey, made
just
progress,
making one,
made
man.
progress.
Exactly. So I hope Gio's crystal ball remains to be correct. So let's hope, and we'll come back to this in February. But any big upsets you guys can see happening? Because for me personally, I have one in mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the Bucks could beat the Eagles with how bad the Eagles are playing.
Oh yeah, 100% I agree with that.
It's going, as we had been saying, it's going to come down to quarterback play, depending on what Baker shows up.
And Baker's played just as good as Dak, honestly.
Let's not go there, but he has played great. I will give you that. But he has history of being inconsistent.
Right.
So if the past few weeks Baker Mayfield shows up, and the past few weeks Philadelphia Eagles defense shows up, I could see the Bucks beating them.
If it, I would also agree that it could very well happen. But Gio, do you have a upset, a different one?
I mean, if we're talking about first round or the whole entire thing, I got Cleveland beating Houston, right, as an upset. Not really, but it is. And then Cleveland beating Baltimore. That's my biggest upset in the entire bracket, where I think Joe Flacco can beat the Baltimore Ravens.
It's fair.
And Miles Garrett, of course.
Right. Hand the ball over to Saya.
I had to pick.
All right. What were you saying before we got cut off, Nick Saya?
My most surprising game or biggest upset will be round one. There's always a high seed that falls to a low.
Mhm.
It's going to be the Steelers beating the Bills. I think it will be 17-14.
That's
Josh Allen comes out for three picks,
Mhm.
runs for 107 yards, but only 150 passing yards.
You said Josh Allen's gonna run for 107 yards?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. Okay.
All right. That's fair. We'll see what happens. But a lot of firings in the NFL, as we noted in the intro, starting with Mike Vrabel, a lot of backlash coming to the Titans for this one. What are your guys' thoughts on this firing? Was it the right move or the wrong move?
I can see the argument both ways. He's kept them competitive, playoff caliber, but I can also see why he's getting fired. There was no reason for her to run back Ryan Tannehill. Will Levis should have been starting from the jump, especially when Tannehill said he's not going to teach anyone. So I think it is a good move to move on.
Yeah, I agree. The past two seasons have been very rough for the Titans. First four, he was a great coach, but the past two, I mean, they haven't been as good as they should be. He hasn't been making the best decisions. And given that they're probably going to lose Derrick Henry, they probably figured might as well start with a new coach, start a rebuild under Will Levis, and see what they can do from there.
You know what you think about?
Uh, I mean, I like him as a coach. Don't get me wrong. He is a good, solid coach, and the team's gonna pick him up.
Oh, I think it's going to be the Patriots as a defensive
Mm.
coordinator.
That would be good. First off, I have to say, I think it's because of the front office and the team that they put together for him to coach. Yes, he still
Yeah.
has to coach the team, but at the same time, when you have a squad for Derrick Henry not having the season he had in the
Well, I mean,
previous
their O
season,
line was terrible.
O-line's terrible. The receivers are shot. Like you got DeAndre Hopkins as your best receiver, right? You trade AJ Brown couple years back. You have DeAndre Hopkins. You get rid of
I
pretty much
think
Tannehill. You don't have a team, so they do have to have that restart button and have a new coach. Just
for
didn't work out.
sure. For sure. And honestly, I could see Derrick Henry following Vrabel, given what Henry said after the firing. He seemed very upset.
Yeah,
I think he could follow Vrabel wherever he goes. And if that is the Patriots, that would be absolutely insane.
that'd be crazy.
I don't believe Derrick Henry will go to New England. I think they're content with Zeke and Stevenson.
Hmm.
But yeah, it'll be a nice fresh start.
For sure. Um, there was a big firing today. I did not see this one coming at all of Pete Carroll at Seattle. I personally don't believe that this was the right move by Seattle, but what are your guys' thoughts on it?
Personally, I think it's a horrible, horrible decision.
I
Um,
mean, he had them in playoff contention with Geno Smith at quarterback.
I was going to bring that up. He legit revived Geno Smith.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, I get it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was mutual. There hasn't been anything that said it was mutual, but unless it was mutual, I just don't understand.
it kind of leaves me like confused.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't really see what they see unless they're trying to get Belichick or something.
I mean, the only person linked to them was Dan Quinn so far because of his history with them. But like, even then, I'd still have arguably one of the greatest coaches to ever do it.
But
But I don't know, man. He's gonna most likely have a role in the organization still. But I don't know. I think it was a wrong move by the Seahawks personally.
I don't think there's many coaches other than him anywhere.
No, even the ones that gotten fired. Why would you want them over Pete Carroll?
There's only, like two or three I think I would choose over Pete Carroll, currently coaching. So like with the job.
Yeah, I, it was very shocking to say the least. Gio, what do you think?
Pete Carroll, right? Um, he's 72 years old.
Correct. Yeah.
Let's start with that. He might just be done, guys. It might not be Seahawks, like, okay, let's force you out, especially if he's gonna have a role as an advisor with this team. It's not like they're on bad terms if he's gonna stick with him and be an advisor, right? I think he's out. I think he doesn't want the responsibility anymore. Being a head coach, being 72 years of age, he doesn't want that. I don't think it's good for his health. One, right? Especially trying to be a competitive team each season and in and year out, right? The Seahawks need a new start, need a fresh start. Him being 72 years of age, winning a Super Bowl with them, right? Having success in the past. It's time to move on. He's 72 years of age. He wants to retire, but he still wants to be part of the game, and that's why he's going to be an advisor. It's not like the Seahawks think there's going to be a better option. It's just the fact that maybe Pete Carroll says, you know what, let me hang up, my coaching hat and let me just take a back seat for a little bit.
If that is the case, then yeah, the Seahawks did the right thing. But if they did fire him as reported, then that's a little shocking.
But I don't think it's a firing. I think it's a step down.
See, but why would they come out and say it was a step down instead of a firing?
But they did say it was a step down. They
Did
said,
they?
well, they didn't say step down. I don't have uh, a firing. I have here, let's look. I have Pete Carroll out of head coach, was a major
Hmm.
one. Is out as head coach, will not return. NFL coaching firings live update. Pete Carroll out in Seattle, right? But it's not like a firing. That was from The Athletic. Pete Carroll fired. Why Seahawks made a coaching change, ESPN. But then you also have Yahoo Sports. Pete Carroll's out, and then CBS Sports. Pete Carroll out, and then and then having a advising role.
Well, yeah,
CBS said.
if he resigned, then the Seahawks had nothing to do with it. But if
Right.
it was a firing, then I just am very confused on why they would do that.
I think if it was a firing, he would not want to return as an advisor.
That's fair. That's true. Good point.
But
How would they go from there, though? You feel me?
that was about to be my next question is who do you want? Are they going to try to go for a Bill Belichick? People say that they are.
The, I mean, the only person I could see them going after right now is the only one that's been linked to them in Dan Quinn because of his history with them.
Dan Quinn would be a great option, but he doesn't want to leave
I
Dallas.
I don't want him to leave, and I don't think he will leave because I think he's done. I think he found his role as a
Right.
defensive coordinator.
Right.
Like he's a perfect defensive coordinator. Head coach, he's a great coach too, don't get me wrong. But he's a better defensive coordinator than he is a head coach, and his
For
job
sure.
is more safe too.
Right. And the thing with him too is he's had better opportunities in the past to leave if he wanted to. And he
100%.
hasn't done so. So why would he do it now?
I think he loves the Cowboys defense group that he's created, and their
Right.
chemistry is just too much for him to leave.
100%.
But if it's not Dan Quinn, I have absolutely no idea who they're going after unless the Patriots do end up firing Belichick.
I
Unless
I
maybe
that'd
if
be
Vrabel doesn't go to New England, maybe they could go after Vrabel. I don't know.
Vrabel would be a great option, great coach, works with the veteran players well, especially Geno Smith, right? Lockett. I think he would be a good fit in Seattle.
For sure. And we have seen that while AJ Brown was on the team, he force feeds his receivers, and DK
Right.
Metcalf would love that.
100%.
But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to monitor for sure because it was very big news.
It was big news until bigger news happened, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, true. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Arthur Smith, I think we all agree should have been fired.
It's it's so bad.
Like not using your two best players, the fact he kept a job as long as he did is surprising.
I can't believe it. One, I the only time I watched Arthur Smith, not because of a Falcons game, but because of a Pat McAfee interview when they were in Atlanta.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, the guy's demeanor, the way his like flow was and energy, I could get that he's just not a good fit, right? I just don't think his vibe is well for an organization that's trying to rebuild and he's had that like negative aura around him, right? Where I think you need a positive coach. You need that guy in Dan Campbell who's gonna pump you up every single game, right? If you're in a rebuilding stage of a franchise. And I don't think Mike was that. So
No, he was a terrible coach. Let's just put that out there.
or Arthur, I mean
n-
Arthur Smith.
yeah, not
Yeah.
sitting your or not giving your top seven running back a pick in the draft the ball and benching him on occasion for no reason. You just come out and say, "Oh, we had a headache" or whatever. Like that just makes no sense. The decisions he made, especially this season, even prior to the season, but especially this season, it showed how poor of a coach he is. And I think that's why the Falcons ultimately decided to move on.
Can we talk about Pitts real quick?
Dude, ever since Arthur Smith went there, or ever since Pitts got drafted, because Arthur Smith was already there when Pitts was drafted, he has not panned out for a reason. And it's Arthur Smith.
You like that Jonnu Smith kid more than Kyle Pitts for whatever reason.
And like, bro, you have Drake London too, and he doesn't even get him the ball.
Right. And that's a problem.
It's like you could just tell he wasn't built for an NFL job. And as I said, the fact he kept the job as long as he did is insane.
He's done in the NFL, like coach on
Oh,
Buck.
100%. The only team that could hire him is a team down bad like the Panthers. But even then, I would not even touch him.
They're not gonna hire him.
So that's
I
how you
don't,
know
yeah.
he is never going to return to the NFL. If the worst team in the league's not wanting you, you're not coming back.
I don't expect him to be a head coach, to be honest. He has to earn that right again.
100%. And if he has to go to college to do that, then go to college. But sticking to coaching news, we'll translate to college coaching news. Probably the all-time greatest coach in college history. More first round draft picks than um than losses. He had 44 first round draft picks, 29 losses in his tenure at Alabama. Nick Saban finally decided to hang it up. What are your guys' thoughts on this? And obviously, very big impact for Alabama as well.
It's a sad day. One of the biggest football names of all time. And he did it at the college level. Shout out my
Hmm.
coach in Miami for a year. But he made a big impact on a ton of kids' lives, got them far, gave them great opportunities,
Hmm.
was part of the most successful college football team of all time. Just a great career.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be very strange not seeing Nick Saban on the college sideline. It's gonna be even more strange not seeing Alabama at the top of college game, as I don't believe they ever will be again, given that Nick Saban is finally gone. I don't believe they will be the same team. They might still be top 25, but it won't be like top five as it was under Saban. It will be more like 20 to 25-ish. And even then, they're not going to make the college football playoffs as they usually do. So it's going to be very strange to not see Nick Saban and not see Bama as good as they have been.
It's gonna hurt the recruits too.
Yeah, 100%. Like Saban was a big part of that. Like I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of decommits now that he's retired.
Like so.
So it's going to be very tough for Alabama to build a new program, but hopefully they'll be able to do it. And congrats to Nick Saban on an amazing career.
But
Gio,
I mean, did I expect to see this today? No, I did not expect to see this. Um, I can understand why. I don't think the trajectory of Alabama's football team is not going in the right direction, right? It is getting harder and harder for him to put together a squad to compete for a national championship.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yes, he gets to the playoffs and he deserves to get to the playoffs, right?
right.
As we've seen. But it's just tough for him. And being 72 years of age, does he really want to keep doing this? I think he's done everything he can. He's like you just mentioned all some of the accolades that he's had, right? 7 national championships. That's the most ever by a coach. Who's going to touch that? I don't think anyone's going to touch that. And he did that arguably in the toughest time, right? These past 10 years, right? He's won two, right? In the last 10 years,
I believe so.
two or three, right? And he's been to at least 4 national championships in the past decade. So for him to do that, it speaks for itself. To have 7 speaks for itself. And then not only that, to have the 44 first rounders, and then since 2009, he's had 123 NFL draft picks, right? Of his players, 123 of them went to the NFL draft
And
and made it
44 went
out.
first round.
And 44 went first round. That's insane. Only to mention a couple names, right? Minka Fitzpatrick, Patrick Surtain II, Trayvon Diggs, Marlon Humphrey, Quinnen Williams, Will Anderson Jr., Dante Hightower. Thanks for that one. I appreciate that one. Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, Calvin Ridley, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris, Jamar Gibbs, Mark Ingram, Eddie Lacy, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, Bryce Young, and Mac Jones. All coming out of Alabama because of him.
100%.
So it it is a sad day because he is the greatest coach. And I feel like I'm just gonna say the whole country rips on Alabama because of how great they are, right? They don't deserve this. They don't need this. Nick Saban gets all of this. He's earned everything he's got throughout his career. The school, has earned everything they had, all these players because of him. He changed
Yep.
that franchise around, or not he changed the program around, right? The school program. So for him to do that in the time being at Alabama, and then his career, coaching career before that, going, LSU, winning there, winning a championship there. Before that, he was at Miami, had a quick stint, right? He was with the Browns. Um, all these great things that he's done throughout his entire career just shows you Michigan State turning that program around when he was there too. Just shows you how great of a coach he was through all facets of the game. And then just to be grateful that we were able to witness great coaching like this in our lifetime. And that's why it's tough because I don't think a lot of people really appreciate the greatness of great people in the sports world until they do retire, right? So you have to appreciate LeBron, you have to appreciate Tom Brady, you have to appreciate, Nick Saban, Bill Belichick, all these guys that have accomplished careers. A lot of people hate on them. You have to be grateful and really just be thankful that you were able to witness what you were able to witness in the time being.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've seen it with Tom Brady. Everyone's missing him now. And the same thing's going to happen with LeBron. Everyone hates him now. But when he does decide to hang it up, they're going to be like, oh, it's not the same. There's a reason for that. It's the impact they have on the game. Nick
Right.
Saban had an absolute impact on the college football game. And without him, it's not going to be the same.
100%.
And I do agree with you that the pressure was starting to get to him, and that's why he probably wasn't the best for his health. And he is 72, I believe, 72,
Yep.
73.
Them
So
too.
he does, I mean, he's been doing this his entire life.
He deserves it.
He's probably like, all right, I got everything I could have gotten. I mean, we didn't win a championship to send me out on top, but we made the playoffs. It's only going to get harder to make the playoffs in the years to come, like you said. And it just the stress probably would have got to him, and he probably stepped down at the right time, given that if he didn't, something bad could have happened.
Well, it is the fact that I think he's won in the hardest time, right? You're gonna have 12 teams. It might be easier to get into the playoffs, but to win a championship is gonna get harder, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you still got Michigan, you still got Georgia,
Right.
Florida State once their quarterback comes back. Like it's going to be hard.
Ohio State's always in there. I mean, there's a lot of teams that can go ahead and upset, especially with a 12 team, lineup now, can
Right.
upset you. But it's at the same time, Nick Saban, he's the most accomplished. He doesn't need anything else. And not only you said he didn't get a championship this year. He got
This
the
year, right.
SEC championship, which to me is the biggest championship because you knocked off the two-time defending champs in the Georgia Bulldogs in the SEC championship. To me, that's bigger this year. That's bigger than this year's championship, in my opinion. Because whoever wins that game, technically, to me, is a champion in its own right. Because you
Yeah.
knocked off the two-time defending champions. Yeah, Michigan won in a close overtime game, but I think that's the toughest game is the Georgia game because I think Georgia can beat anyone in the country as well.
Oh yeah, I agree. As I said, Nick Saban was a great coach. To get his team, the team he had this year that everyone counted out to the playoffs, proved how well of a coach he is.
Right.
Any closing thoughts over there, Saya?
It's good to see him go right now. Few seasons from now, we'll miss it, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for two.
Who, thank you for two. I like that. Um, who is the best coach in college football right now since Saban's gone?
So
If Harbaugh stays in, I'm gonna have to go Harbaugh
I would agree.
just because of what he basically rejuvenated Michigan in the span of a year when he came
Right.
in. So I think it's going to have to go to him, but he also has interest in the NFL. So we'll see if he stays in college.
I'm gonna go with one person only. Mr. Prime Time
As the best coach
of all time.
in the game?
Nah, he's joking.
But
But any other thoughts, or can we move on to the Knicks trade?
Yes, let's get to
Uh,
that quick.
all right. Um, so in case you guys didn't know, OG Anunoby did get traded to the New York Knicks for RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, and a 2024 second round pick. Ever since this trade, the Knicks are undefeated in the OG era. They are 5-0, and the Raptors are playing much better as well. They've prior to the loss last night against the Lakers, they had won 3 of their last 4. So they're getting improved as well. RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly came in and got themselves acclimated very quickly, and they are honestly they could still somehow make the playoffs after this trade if they don't get rid of Pascal Siakam, which is also a rumor, but get back. What are your guys' thoughts on this Knicks Raptors trade and who won the trade?
yeah, I'm gonna let you go first, sir.
I mean, I love this trade if I'm the Raptors, right? I think New York lost this trade. Yes, they've been on a tear with OG, but come playoff time, you're going to need that offensive, firepower and quickly and in RJ. And they weren't bad defensive players either. Yes, you got a great player in OG, but really defensively, you were fine with quickly and RJ. I love this for Toronto. You get the hometown kid and
Yeah,
RJ Barrett,
yeah.
and goes ahead and scores 37 points in his bounce back game or what, second game as a Raptor?
Bro, ever since he went back home, I don't think he's had a bad game yet.
He's the hometown hero. RJ Barrett, a Toronto Raptor, he's going to be a legend in Toronto. I guarantee you by the end of his career, if he stays with Toronto, he's going to get his jersey retired there. And
I
that's a
could see it.
guarantee.
I
They're going
could
to win a
see it.
championship with them.
I mean, it's going to take a lot of rebuilding, but I could see him getting his jersey retired for sure if he does stay with Toronto.
I think the East is so difficult right now, but let's
Yeah.
let's just say I think Toronto did win this trade single-handedly. Emmanuel quickly is no slouch too. I mean, he was what, six man for a reason.
Yeah.
So you'd get that, and you have Pascal Siakam. Yeah, you got OG Anunoby on the Knicks. Good for you guys. Let's see what happens to Julius Randle in the playoffs because he still only goes to his left. Let's see what happens with Jalen Brunson when he's the only one scoring. I mean, Mitchell Robinson's out for the season. Yeah, good job, guys. You guys really helped your team out, getting one single player for two great players.
I mean, Mitch might come back. I heard that today, so we never know. But either way, I agree. The Raptors won this trade. I did not like this trade from the Knicks standpoint at all. I was fine with giving up RJ Barrett. It was more quickly for me. Why
Yeah,
add quickly? You could have easily done a RJ Barrett. Here's RJ and a second round pick for OG. Why give
right.
up quickly? Like you
Yeah,
you gave up your best bench player. You have
right.
no bench now. Quickly was your bench. He came off the bench and got 25 to 30 a night.
That's
Who's
right.
gonna who's gonna do that now?
No one.
Yes, Julius Randle is playing absolutely fantastic,
It
but
doesn't have.
as we saw at the beginning of the season, he has history of being inconsistent, and in the playoffs, he has history of not showing up, as Gio stated. If that does happen and they don't have quickly, and all they have is Jalen Brunson, they are not going anywhere.
Right.
But yeah, for the Raptors, this was a great trade. Getting a point guard to pair with Dennis Schroeder.
Mhm.
Um, quickly
Scotty
obviously start.
Barnes.
Yeah, Scotty quickly obviously starts, and then Schroeder comes off the bench. That's a great
Mhm.
1-2 punch. And
Yep.
then pairing him with Scotty and RJ with Scotty, like they got better defensively and better offensively. It was a win-win for the Raptors.
Still have Jakob, right? You still got
Yeah,
Pascal. It's a
I
solid
mean,
team.
yeah, as of right now they have Pascal, but he's floating around as well.
It, so initially with this trade, I thought it was very obviously a Raptors win,
Hmm.
Mm.
getting RJ in quickly. After a little bit of time to digest and watch both teams play, I still think the Raptors won it, but it's not as confusing to me anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the fact that OG is fitting as well as he is with the Knicks is a good sign.
It helped Knicks team get more gritty,
Mm,
and now the Raptors don't have to rely on their grit as much.
right.
They got two scores, so I think it helps both teams, but the Raptors win. Well,
That's fair. I could definitely see that. I also believe that the Knicks went after OG because he is a type of player that Tom Thibodeau loves.
Right.
So we'll see what happens come playoffs for the Knicks. If losing quickly does make as big of an impact as we'll see. But as of right now, it's a win-win trade for both. But any closing thoughts before we do our segments?
Mm, nah, I agree with you. Great, win-win for the Knicks and Raptors.
All right, Gio. Any shoe news over there?
Well, I could go ahead and state, the whole release calendar for, Nike, Jordan Brand, Kobe, all of them. But tonight, I don't want to talk about sneakers. I want to talk about the thankfulness I am to the Syracuse Orange and beating Boston College by 10 points tonight after Boston College coming back. Great win, especially from that poor loss and Duke. It was unfortunate. They got hot behind the arc, beat us. We had a close game throughout the entire game until that happened. But great, necessary win we needed. And we can move on into the season. And they look good. They have a good, solid team. I like the heart we have, behind Copeland. He's the heart of the team. Malik Brown playing great. Benny Williams, we got Judah Mintz. The only player I want to see play better is JJ Starling, and that is it.
The only player I want to see play better is by far Justin Taylor.
Yeah, obviously Justin, but if you're looking at the hype around JJ Starling,
Correct.
he has to play better.
Yeah, I agree with that. He has shown flashes of his potential though.
Yeah, he has.
So hopefully he'll start to pick it up. But yeah, great Orange win. Um, in video game news though, I'm very upset at EA Sports. They did announce that they were gonna drop a trailer for the college football game, or at least they announced they were gonna do something for the college football game in the national championship, and then didn't follow through. Unfortunately for us college football fans, that was very frustrating because if you say you're going to do it and the fans are pretty much watching the game, waiting for the trailer or the release date, and you don't do it, kind of gets us a little frustrated and skeptical about the game dropping. So hopefully EA Sports does come out with a trailer or release date soon.
for music, like Playboy Cardi dropped. There's some other people, but like earlier, I was talking to my boy Gio. I'm gonna give a nice shout out to my boy Jack Harlow for his new song or his song going into the top 200, top 100. Um, I have not given it a listen yet. I'm not the biggest Jack Harlow fan, but shout out to him.
Yes, sir. We'll see y'all in the next one.
Yep. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed, you can drop a like on the video. Appreciate you. If you have any arguments or your own predictions, your own thoughts on the Knicks Raptors trades, let us know in the comments. Or if you just want to tell us how your team did, what you thought of the game, let us know. Most importantly, though, make sure to Geo.
Hey guys, like three wise men once said, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.